Stopping the preview and starting the stream. Good morning, everyone. This is episode 258, the penultimate episode before May the 4th be with you, which is next. Our show is actually on May the 4th next week. Woohoo.
Yay!
Star Wars Day. So, just the usual introduction. This is the raw version, the version of video which I do not edit, and the thing I do edit is the MP3. Now, I was planning a short show, and because there was like nothing to talk about, I was trying to find all this Star Wars news just to fill, and then they released all the May the 4th information for what they're doing for May the 4th, and it's a ton of stuff. Came out maybe an hour or so ago, so I'm still assimilating it, but we will cover it. And we also have a 15-minute Academy from Sweaterista, which we have all listened to, so I'm not going to play it during this stream, but it will be obviously in the final MP3, and Sweaterista will publish her video eventually with that. Let's see, that's pretty much the preamble. Hello to everyone in the chat room, usual crowd it looks like. Anything else you want to cover before we begin? Winner has been picked. I think we're good.
Okay.
Alright, let's roll. Everyone's recording.
Alright. Get back up to my notes back up to the top.
There are many notes.
Yeah. Going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that has pieces of us in 3 different systems. This is episode 258, being recorded on Wednesday, April 27th, 2016. I'm your host, Chill, with our producer and co-host, Tio. Hi, Tio.
Hey, guys.
And our guests today are Fiona and Dekion. So, Dekion, what you been up to the last few weeks?
Looks like this week has been pretty busy, Switcher Rise. Started last weekend for our Friday night raid. We ran to Burroughs Courtyard just to kind of get that extra piece of set gear, since that's a really short one. And then we moved on to Dread Fortress, which was next in our list. Saturday, we just pretty much just generally played, did some flashpoints, did some heroics. Sunday morning, I get up pretty early, and our guildmate Destructa was kind of groaning about the pug that he was running in. They were trying to do scum and villainy, and they kept wiping on the final boss, and finally his pug just disbanded, but he had that lockout. So we reached out to our guild and asked, hey, everybody, let's get a group together. So later that afternoon, we easily took out the final boss in Scum and Villainy, but it didn't seem like we were done yet. At that point, our guildmate Dread kept asking, how do I get 2 radiant crystals? I just need 2 radiant crystals so I can get another piece of 220 gear.
Nice.
And we kind of tossed it around. What should we do? What's the easiest way? And somebody mentioned, hey, let's do Burroughs Courtyard. So we all found some alts that hadn't done it on Friday. And we knocked out Burroughs Courtyard, which got us the radiant crystals. But for some reason, we just weren't done yet. We were kind of chatting, amongst ourselves. What are we going to do next? And somebody mentioned, let's just do Sparky. Nobody really had done Ravagers yet, and we just wanted to see what it was like. So we stepped in, and after a wipe or two, we finally brought down Sparky, and thought, let's just keep going. Let's see how far we can get. Out of the 8 of us, 6 of us had never even seen Ravagers yet, other than just YouTube videos. Right. So we went through and sort of made it. We got up to Master Blaster, and we just had the mechanics wrong, I think. We just kept wiping. As soon as Master would come out, he would just kind of kill all of us. and we decided to call it quits, which was right about 10 minutes before Game of Thrones started on HBO. So,
Well timed.
That's a deal breaker, right?
well timed, exactly. So that's pretty much what I did this week.
All right, awesome. And Fee, what have you been up to?
Well, so real life has been kind of crazy. I just finished up my final exam for my Doctor of Chiropractic degree. So
Excellent.
I'm sort of on cloud nine. It's totally bizarre. I did not have any idea that I was so bogged down with stress until it wasn't there.
Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I was still in clinic. I have an internship for 8 more months. I think I mentioned
Okay.
that last time, but I'm done with classes. And now I have time to do
Nice.
other things like read books because I want to. And not feel guilty when I play SWTOR all weekend. Things
That's
like
right.
that.
Excellent.
So that, I ran the Ravagers. However, I didn't have a tune to play on. I was like, I can't. This is my only healer. I don't have anyone else, so I had to play with a DPS. It was awesome because I've never done that. I rolled her up to see the story, and then I was like, well, I guess I could do this, and it's a
Right.
whole different game.
That is
But
cool.
it was good. It was very
Yeah.
cool. So, yeah.
And you have to learn whole new mechanics a lot of the times.
Yes, and you can watch the fights and stuff instead of like being obsessed about the
Health bars,
the
yeah.
health bars.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it was really fun. So I did that. It was bizarre. Deck
Yeah, it's
just
true.
kept saying, "When did you get a Marauder? When did you roll her up?" I'm like, "What?" It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's true that when you're healing, it's. I mean, you could play you could almost play the game as like a, on an old like Atari 2600 because it's all just the health bars. It could all just be represented with blocks. And it make almost no difference sometimes.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah, that's actually one of the. But I still enjoyed healing when I was doing it early in this expansion. It is a lot of fun. I do obsess on the health bars as well, and it's hard to pull myself away and actually do the few mechanics that you kind of have to pay attention to. But it's fun because it's so different than anything else. Either of the other two roles, it's way different. So
Yeah.
yeah, I enjoy it too.
When we ran that, we basically were just like, hey, who wants to run this? And we got 8 people together, and throughout the op, like Dex said, there were 6 of us who'd never even seen it. And then throughout the op, people just kept dropping out, and then we'd just fill it in. I mean, it was amazing how simple it was. We'd be like, hey, we need a DPS, and someone would pop in, and it was crazy. So, hey, we need a healer, and we got a healer in, and it was really fun. So it was really cool to see so many people on, because we generally have a lot of people on at, like Saturdays and Sundays, we've been having 12 or 15 people on. It's been cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that doesn't sound
is
like
cool.
a lot, but it's fun because it's enough to do a raid if you want to just go, hey guys, come do this.
That's right, because almost everyone
thanks.
has
It's super
rating
fun.
tunes at this point. So yep.
Yeah.
All right, Tio, how about your week?
Well, my breakaway from Star Wars: The Old Republic continues. However, it will come to an end coming next week with Game Update 4.3 Profit and Plunder and the introduction of the Eternal Championship. So we're not really going to cover exactly how to prepare for it because there's not much you can do really for anything that is coming in the Game Update. But yes,
Right.
I'm very much looking forward to that. Didn't really get up to anything else Star Wars related. I did watch Game of Thrones as well, and a good start to the season.
Yeah, it was
Yes.
all right. A little slow, but there's some
Indeed.
good stuff in there.
Had to start somewhere, and certain questions left unanswered. But anyway, that's
That's about it. Of the 2 companions, are you excited about both of them coming back, or one more than the other? You like Bet more, or
interesting. Nah, neither of them were really.
Not
I'm
your
really a
favorites?
Republic player at heart. And Galt is the bounty hunter.
Yes.
Or is that yeah?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, bounty.
So yeah, nah.
And then
Take
Dex,
them or leave them, really.
Warrior. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's great. All right, first on to my week, and first we'll do a shout out to the chat room. And Bill646 is here, Blay is here as Blacklock Gaming, Bo Daddy, Calico Bones, Dekian is here, DreadX, Dragonblade 150, Farseer, Ignacio, Jagged Fell, Reckless Lord, Arjar75, Siskaeka, Sledgester, Suzuka Sakurai is here, Tommy McD28, let's see, Vasma Gaming, Zamzam is here, and XKing5V. Hello, everyone. And I worked on Chill Hulk this week multiple times. Didn't really do PvP, just kind of got her through the content. I got her all the way, she was like only on chapter 4 or 5 or something like that. Got her all the way past Find a Findsman, and then caught all the way up to current content last night. So I'm not sure what my next move is, if I want to get, go back to PvP or level a character of some sort. I have no idea, but I will figure out something. And this week I also bought and listened to, on Audible, Star Wars Lost Stars. And it's actually, I liked it a lot, actually. It's a good story. It's technically, it's put under the young adult lit category, but it doesn't really feel like it. There's definitely, there's some adult themes in it, and it also just is just well written in a way that doesn't feel like it's talking down to the audience or anything like that. So I did miss Mark Thompson. He was not the narrator on this one. It was some other guy whose name I didn't bother to write down. He's okay. He's no Mark Thompson, but he is good. And anyway, the story generally follows two friends who are from the same homeworld, but very different sort of parts of that homeworld, two different, sort of social classes, basically. But their lives sort of intertwine even on that world, and then their lives sort of, they basically are joining the Empire, essentially. And then their lives sort of follow along the important events of episodes 4 all the way through 7, not just 6, but kind of through 7 almost. So it's a little fanficky that way, because a fanfic will sort of like love to sort of duck and weave around the main characters and the main story and kind of tell you so that you know where it ties in. That sort of, this is very much in that vein, but it was well done and the story was well written, and there's a lot of good emotions in it, and I liked it a lot. So yeah, Star Wars Lost Stars. And that is part of the new canon, so it is canonical. So that was it. So that'll bring us to the tip of the week. And we've got 5 tips this week. And Tio, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Our first tip is from Dak of the Tor Wars Guild, from that old podcast. Hasn't been around for a while, but anyway, the guild is still there on the Shadowlands. One of their members, Zarb, gave a workaround for the HK55 quest that is bugged. Some people are not able to complete the quest because when you get the firing range, the hotbar does not appear like it is supposed to. The only way to access them is to open the Abilities tab and navigate to Legacy or General Options. Once you locate the quest-specific abilities, just drag the abilities to any quick/hotbar or your action bars, and now you can complete the quest and get HK55. I hope that helps, and may the Force be with you. Always annoying when a quest bugs, but it's good that there's a workaround.
Yeah, clever. I've never had to do that, so I wasn't even aware that sometimes you could get temporary abilities in that book in the tab. Yeah. That's interesting. All right, second tip is from Kirkadoodle of the Wookiee Mistake and Unholy Alliance guilds on the Harbinger. Both friendly guilds to our own guilds. And if, like me, he writes, if you've been doing a lot of rep grinding lately, and every Tuesday you need to click on a big stack of rep certificates, or anytime you have a big stack of something to click on, like gifts, drop the item on a quick bar and then keybind it. Then hit the key while standing around waiting for a spawn or similar downtime. I leave a spot like this on one of my bars and drop big stacks on that spot as needed. It's much less tedious than mouse clicking. And
that's smart.
Yeah. And Kirkadoodle also says, great podcast, been great meeting you guys at the Cross Guild social events. So indeed, yeah.
Yeah,
I've been having a lot of fun at those too.
I use that technique for when I'm giving gifts. So you can just watch a video or something and just click.
The only time I've done that was at the casino event. And then I put all of my little coins down in there. Yeah. So
there you go. Yeah, it works better than mousing just because, yeah, you can do it with a mouse click, but if your pointer moves, all of a sudden it's not working and blah blah blah. So if you keybind it, then you got it, and you can just hit it all day long.
Our third tip is from Sinwolf of the Rexar Legacy on the Harbinger and Jedi Covenant. Recently there was a tip about pulling Nico immediately to speed up the story on the starter planet and get more companions moving on the crafting. I would like to add that once you get to Fleet, don't forget to grab Treek also. I have a bad habit of forgetting her until I'm about halfway through the capital world and getting annoyed at not having 2 companions doing all of my crafting missions.
Yep,
So there you go.
Treek. You do have to be level 10, so if you've been really cranking it along, you might not quite be there yet. But yes, level 10 and on the Fleet, and if you have legacy-wide, Act Dogs or any of those other companions, of course, you'd grab those at the same time.
Yes.
my trick is to forget to go get the mission to learn the missions, the crafting missions, or the.
Oh,
and I go to do something. I'm like, I don't even have anything to do here. What is my issue? And I end up having to go to the Fleet.
That's right, because you just pass up the little mission box that kind of directs you that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and of course you should also talk to all of the crew trainers because you get that little chunk of XP for each one still. So
yeah, you get a lot of XP when you're that low.
It actually adds up. I think it's something like half a level or something like that if you click on all of them. All right, fourth tip is from Javadoggy, Starbucks of our own Utini Rage. When you're doing the Star Fortress solo runs, pull out the companion you are maxing influence on prior to the bonus mission to get that 600 plus influence when you complete it.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
It is.
That's right, because that's expensive influence at that level. So yeah, that's excellent.
600 is a drop in the ocean, but you gotta fill that
obviously,
somehow.
and then and also just make sure you don't have a companion who's at 50 already, because that's just a waste.
Yeah. All right, our last.
What's a companion at 50? My highest I think is 25.
I don't.
Still.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would.
I have one in the 40s
Wow.
on one character, but yeah.
All right.
The vagaries of alcoholism. So.
Indeed. All right, our fifth and last tip is from Elion D of the Unholy Alliance Guild on the Harbinger and the Epic Guild on the Shadowlands. Don't know if anyone mentioned this yet or not, but as one who also misses the server load status on the in-game server selection screen, I thought I'd send this along. You can still see the server load status on swotor.com. Just hover over My SWOTOR and click Server Status. I think you have to be logged in to do this, but it will show the light, standard, etc. statuses.
Ah.
And
clever.
I checked it myself just to see if it was still there. You do not need to be logged in, because I just did it through an anonymous tab. And yes, it will show you both the population and also the type of the servers, as in PvP,
Hey.
which no longer applies, RP,
Right.
PvP, etc. So, and we also got a tweet from Corrit independently, who says on the character transfer page, the servers are still marked PvP, PvE, and RP. So I suspect in both cases, as Corrit suspects, it is just an oversight.
Right, they might pull it at some point.
Oh, yeah,
But
I would guess
at
so.
least for now, yeah. Especially since there actually is a difference if you're an RPer and you're looking for an RP heavy server. That's where they will still be for quite some time.
Yes.
That is true.
The old ones. Yep. That's awesome. All right, and by a random allotment, the winner is Kirkadoodle. Congratulations, Kirkadoodle. You're the winner of an M83R droid or Tonfon pet code, courtesy of BioWare, and a new OotiniCast provided cartel market pack from the latest shipment. And if you'd like a chance to win the same, please send your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com by next Tuesday. And that will bring us to the holo feed. Tio?
Okay, well, I didn't think we'd have any Star Wars The Old Republic news, but that all changed a little while ago. So we do have a fair bit to go through, so let's get started. Firstly, about that 5th stronghold, I don't think did we cover this last week? Because I don't think we did.
No.
No, we didn't. Okay. About that fifth stronghold. Now, we had got the explicit statement from BioWare that for the Conquest bonus, the fifth one, now that you can unlock all 5, would not apply to giving you that a 25% bonus. As you know, prior to having 5 of the 4 that you could have, you max them out, you fully decorate them, etc., and fully open them, you would get 25% bonus, and that would add up for 4 strongholds to 100% Conquest bonus. And they said it would take the 4 out of the 5 most complete and take their completions, and that would give you up to 100%. Not 125%. But it turned out they changed their mind. So now you can actually decorate your 5th stronghold once you've unlocked it, and you'll get a potential bonus of 125% for the Conquest.
Okay.
So that's kind of weird how they just sort of turned it around like that. The reasoning was the team wanted to ensure that with the change to allow 5 strongholds, we didn't punish players who currently had 4. But we wanted to reward players who decorated all 5. So I guess I could have taken the 5, made them 20% each, so a max of 100%, but they would have punished the people who only had 4.
Right.
This way, if you decorate the extra one, you just get more of a bonus. But everyone who's already decorated just sticks with the bonus they have.
Neat.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah,
of course, now there is, if you're serious, you now have to get that 5th stronghold and must go spray everything, decos all over it, to get that bonus.
Even that takes a while.
Yeah, and very expensive, especially for Yavin, to fully unlock and decorate it.
Right, a 5th one? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It helps that we can now stack decos to $9.99.
That's true, and get a whole lot of freebies from the achievement-based decos as well.
Right.
And just add them up to the collection, as long as you don't mind clicking.
Yeah, I started doing that on one. I was like, I got up to like 500, and it's like, okay, I'm done.
You got further than me. I got to like 98. I was like, no, I'm done.
Well, I already had the 99 from before, but yeah, to get to the 500, I was like, oh my god. Yeah, I was like, I got to do another 400. I'm halfway done. Forget it. I got other things to do.
Well, plus the +2 prestige for each piece, all the way up to $9.99.
It's true. If you want the max prestige, you got to do it.
All right, next in the news. Now, we heard about weapon tuning for the first time last week. This is an item modification. You will get a weapon tuning slot added to some weapons, not all of them. If you haven't seen them yet, that's because they haven't been added. They will presumably appear with Game Update 4.3 on Tuesday next week. And the way it works is you can there's only one weapon tuning that will be available in the Plunderers pack come Tuesday, and when you put that in, it adds that lightning effect, because it is called lightning, to the weapon, and it's kind of cool, and it does match the color crystal. Now, there were a bunch of questions asked, so we do have some further information from BioWare on how to work. Firstly, someone asked whether it's purely cosmetic, and yes, they do not add any stats like color crystals do at the moment.
Right.
Yeah, they've said before they would probably prefer the color crystals didn't add any stats, were purely cosmetic as well. Obviously they're not, but they have changed it, so pretty much all the color crystals are plus 41 and can be used at any level, which is almost the same thing. But yes, weapon tunings, no stats, purely cosmetic. Will you be able to modify existing weapons, was asked. And they said many of the existing weapons you have will support the weapon tuning slot, but not all, and they're going to continue adding them to existing weapons over time. And all new weapons introduced will have this slot. So every new weapon that comes out will definitely have it. All the existing ones, some will, but they'll add it to more over time, because it does take time to do this. I think Squirterista commented last week that it would obviously require effort for every model to add in what the lightning effect did to it.
Yeah, it's got to be relatively simple, but still, yeah, you're going to have to add it, do a little testing, make sure it looks good, then make sure that everything's toggled on the right way in the system. Yeah, it's not nothing. And there's a lot of weapons in the game.
There are indeed. I'm just going to save a question from Ignacio. Okay. Next, are they exclusive to the cartel market? Yes, but in the future they may be available from other sources. So for now, lightning is only available in the Plunderer's Pack and subsequently from the GTN, but they may make them available from other things like PvP or whatever. Maybe there will be a tuning as one of the Season 7 rewards for ranked PvP, as an example, which I just made up. They didn't say that.
That'd be cool, though.
It
like
would.
to have something you could only get by doing X thing, and you'd have a cool weapon effect. I think that's a good idea.
Agreed. Are they affected by color crystals? As mentioned earlier, and as we noted in the examples, yes. Yes, they are. So the color of the lightning, in this case, will be affected by the color crystal. And will tuning effects stack with existing weapon effects? So obviously some of the more expensive or advanced weapons do have fancy effects of themselves. And yes, lightning will be incorporated with them, with possibly hilarious results. But who knows? I guess you'd have to check it out on a case-by-case basis to see whether it makes sense to put the tuning in there. They may actually, I would guess, not add the tuning slot to some weapons which already has a similar effect, because it just wouldn't make any sense. But we'll see.
Right.
I'm wondering what the lightning effect would look like on the Gree lightsaber. I think that would look pretty cool.
Yes, it would. Can we turn the effect on and off like a flourish, the mount flourish? Yeah. And no, the answer is, similar to existing weapon effects, when the weapon is drawn, the effect will always be shown, so you're stuck with the lightning. And are they destroyed if removed from a weapon? And they did actually explain that in the blog, and they confirm the answer is no. They are removable for a fee, just like other mods, like a color crystal. So
That's
better than a die
nice.
module in that respect.
Yes.
Right. It sounds, and it will not be. It's not something you'll be able to just kind of unlock and have on every character, though, because it's going to be a single item, isn't it?
Yes, and will not be in collections either, so you will have to get separate ones for each character you want to put it on.
Yeah, that you want it on.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what other weapon flourishes they've come up with,
Yeah.
There'll probably be a glowy one. I'd like to see like a toxic one, like a dripping green slime one, So you put on
That'd be cool.
Yeah, so you put it in, it looks like your weapon's glowing, dripping venom. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, and of course, as mentioned earlier, the first and only weapon tuning will be available in Game Update 4.3 in the Plunderer's Pack.
Okay.
Being released with Chapter 13, Profit and Plunder, on May the 3rd. All right, next in the news, that Recon Walker, the Eternal Empire Recon Walker that drops as a rare drop in Star Fortress, which I did get on my Sork, and is pretty much my favourite mount right now. Well, in Game Update 4.4, it will be available as one of the items you can purchase from the Eternal Championship vendor. And not only will it be a bind on equip as it is now, so you can sell it on the GTN, they're changing it to bind to legacy, so you will no longer be able to sell it. Is that true?
Okay.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah. So if you want one, pretty much the only way to get it is to either get it from Star Fortress, which you still can, or to do the Eternal Championship and purchase it from the vendor. You will not be able to get it off the GTN, and if you've currently got it on sale at the GTN right now, that's fine, it'll still be bind on equip, but you won't be able to put it up anymore because it'll be bind to legacy.
Yeah.
So yes, I would highly recommend purchasing that Walker if you haven't got it already, if you do the Eternal Championship.
It's not only a very cool mount, but it's also a very cool deco for your stronghold.
I bet it is.
Yeah. Now, character transfers. We talked last week about the price returning on last Tuesday from 90 cartel coins to 1,000 cartel coins. Still down from the original 1,800 cartel coins, but a lot more than 90. And they said they were looking at regional transfers, being able to transfer between the US and the EU regions. And they say it is available right now. You will be able to transfer characters between the regions, but it's going to cost 1,500 cartel coins to move between Europe and the US.
Huh. Okay.
I can't even begin to fathom why it's more expensive, given the underlying systems are probably identical.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's just a database. You're just copying a database.
There should be no logical difference between moving between servers within the US and servers in the EU and the US. I assume they're just doing it because they can. But maybe there is some reason. Insert semi-plausible reason here.
The characters have to go through customs.
Seriously, that's exactly.
Yeah, got to pay your immigration officials somehow. So. All right, now Necro Soldier on Twitter asked, "How long does a transfer take?" And at least within the US and within Europe, it's almost instantaneous, within a minute or two. If you're going between regions, who knows? If anyone's done it, please let us know. I would guess it's pretty much the same, almost instantaneous.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out. Lewis said, "I wish they gave us 4-week notice about the increase in price from 90 to 1,000, and because he just spent his cartel coins the day before and wasn't going to get any more." Yeah, so that was a little weird how they didn't give us any more advance warning. Usually they do. They're pretty good at telegraphing this stuff, but this time, yeah, oh well. And Blacklock asked Deck, "Why does everyone think the server transfers were done for him? I do love the fact they've been done, mind you." And, well, because they were done for you, Blacklock.
Yeah,
isn't that obvious? He also said, 1,000 cartel coins for a character transfer. I'm blaming you, Swedrista. Looking at this, so are they. And, yeah, and he's
Did she
referring...
transfer a lot of characters?
She mentioned the tip about using it for a rename, a cheap rename, character rename. And and Blacklock referred to a post where that was mentioned. So yes, no more 180 cartel coin character transfers, bouncing to another server and back to change its name. Oh well. You're back to paying the coincidentally, 1,000 cartel coins for the name change.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, Joe Foreign of the Casual Core Radio podcast said, "That was a good long run, almost a year if not more, of 90 cartel coins. I'm sure some folks will be upset, expecting it to be permanent, though they never said it would be." And he said, "I was able to get my top legacy perks on every server I wanted. Kudos to BioWare for letting it run so long." And his co-host on Casual Core Radio responded, that's Gildarian Drew, "In my opinion, it should be free. Servers are an outmoded, arbitrary barrier." And I think he's got a point there. On many other games, there's no servers at all, or the server transfers are free, but for whatever reason,
Right.
it's still there. It is a way to make money, and if people are willing to pay, if the market will bear it.
Business is
So yes.
business.
Devs got to get paid. Yes. Alright. And last in Star Wars The Old Republic news, here's the thing that only turned up a couple of hours before we started recording. The May the 4th celebration. A month of stuff from Star Wars The Old Republic. Mm-hmm. Who knew they would take it quite this far? So haven't really assimilated this myself in detail, so we're going to just run through it. Firstly, if you're not a subscriber, you get the Play Chapter 1 for free offer yet again. So that's back. And the way that one works is you get a free level 60 character, and only that character you can play. You get to play through Chapter 1 of Knights of the Fallen Empire, and, well, that's it, really. And then you can decide whether you want to subscribe or whatever. So at that moment, if you've never played before and you've never given them any money or a free-to-play account with all those restrictions, so you can go back, create a level 1 and just play through. But nothing is unlocked in terms of the expansions. So that offer is active again, but obviously not for subscribers. What next? Then they just talk about the usual rewards. Unlock and binge. Play the story so far. There's an incentive to subscribe. Subscribe now and just play it all through. And you can get early access to ongoing chapters, plus monthly rewards inspired by the legendary HK-55 assassin droid.
Ugh.
Anyway. So, usual stuff. We know how that works. And then let's get to what we get as rewards for May the 4th. Firstly, we get our Zakulan Astromech droid mini pet. So obviously the droid is one of the many astromechs or utility droids that we see on Zakul.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense, doesn't it? And that will be granted to all players, not just subs, who log in between April 27th and May the 4th. So make sure you've logged in before next Wednesday. And you'll get your M4I6 Zakul and Astromech droid mini pets. Also, the double XP is on. They did mention this previously. That will be between May the 3rd and May the 10th. And it's not just double XP, it's also double Legacy XP, which is the same thing really, but also double PvP Warzone comms and Space PvP Rec from Galactic Starfighter.
Huh.
So,
That's nice.
it's double everything. So, there you go. A fantastic time to do PvP, to get more Warzone comms, to do GSF. People do still play GSF, believe it or not. And
Yes, we
obviously
do.
just level. So,
Some people have just started and are really excited about double XP requisitions because they need a new ship.
indeed.
And
Okay,
are
so
we-
that...
Do we know if the double XP can be turned off, like it could once upon a time?
Of course it can't chill.
Aw.
That's silly.
So if I do want to start a new character, this might not be the time to do it, because unless I really want to run through the levels.
Yeah. It basically gives us back 12 times XP from the current 6 times XP. So you can skip the planetary arc if you want to level a new character. And that is
Alright.
from May the 3rd to May the 10th, but also again from May 26th to May 30. So they're running this twice, also later in May. And don't miss the Knights of the Fallen Empire 13-chapter marathon story stream featuring Eric Musco himself that he talked about in the last live stream on Saturday, May the 4th. Not May the 14th. May the 4th, beginning at 7 a.m. Pacific, with special
no.
guests and giveaways.
Except that's not a Saturday. May the 4th is a Wednesday. We know that because
So it is
the
May the
14th is a
14th.
Saturday.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right. Let me
So he's
redo
not
that.
doing it on May the 4th.
Don't miss the Knights of the Fallen Empire 13-chapter marathon story stream featuring Eric Musco on Saturday, May the 14th, beginning at 7 a.m. Pacific, with special guests and giveaways. Special guests, you say? Well, no idea, really. So, I guess we'll see. Now, he did say he would play for as long as it took to get through the 13 chapters, which is, well, roughly
Takes a while.
13-ish hours, probably a bit longer.
Yeah.
So that's a long day.
Wow, he's really going to play through the whole story. That's cool. I want to do
Yeah.
that.
Yes. Yes. Now, let's go. There's more. Yes, there's more. The Eternal Championship solo speedrun. So obviously the Eternal Championship is coming on Tuesday. It's Game Update 4.3. So Game Update 4.4. Jeez, I've been saying 4.3, haven't I? Crap. So this one, the Eternal Championship Solo Speedrun, compete for a chance to win a grand prize trip for you and a guest to Star Wars Celebration Europe, which will be in London. So how cool is that? You have a chance now to win
Give it
yourself,
to me.
for you and +1, to Star Wars Celebration. Awesome. And go to London. That's you.
Unfortunately, it's a race, so there's no chance
That is
I would
cool.
even think about winning that, but it would be so
Yes.
cool. Oh my gosh.
Now, who can enter? Anyone who's completed Chapter 9, The Alliance, obviously, because you need that to actually access the Eternal Championship. And what you do is speedrun through all 10 rounds of the new Eternal Championship Challenge in the fastest time possible. Now, the timer starts when you accept the Eternal Championship mission, not the Solo Plus, because you can bring friends, A Solo Plus is also known as a group, so you do have to do this solo, and the timer ends when you return to the terminal to turn in that solo mission. So you pick up the mission and go, and you've got to get through all 10 rounds in the fastest time possible by yourself and your companion, and then you turn it in, and whoever gets it the fastest will win. The contest runs from May the 3rd, when Eternal Championship comes out, through May 20, and the winners will be announced on the 27th. And how to accept, I'll link it obviously, and you have to accept the conditions, blah blah blah, and then you can do it in game. So you do have to apparently enter first before you can do it in game. So don't just do it
Right.
and then enter later, because I don't think that would work necessarily. Best to play it safe, accept the rules, and then do it. The
It
grand
must
prize.
ping something in the game to like when you hit that mission, it recognizes you and starts the timer.
Yeah, if they haven't got it
So-
already. They probably do already time that kind of stuff, just got the metrics, which they usually don't show us. And they will probably use that to confirm.
Hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. Now, the grand prize winner will get a 4-day, 3-night trip for a winner and a guest to Star Wars Celebration Europe, which is July 14 through 18.
Pretty cool.
And you also get a Star Wars Celebration event pass for all 3 days for you and the guest. You get a year of subscription time, and you get 14,500 cartel coins. So, wow, it's actually pretty nice.
It's not a bad prize.
Yes. Now, they will also accept 5 runners-up. So it'll be whoever gets the next 5 times from the after the fastest, who will get half a year of subscription time and 5,500 cartel coins.
Nice.
So definitely better than a slap in the face with a wet fish. So awesome.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. It's a really good competition and encouragement to do your best, the best possible in Eternal Championship.
And
So
everyone
again-
can do it too. That's the kind of the cool thing. Is anyone can compete with anyone. It doesn't mean you're going to win, but you can compete.
This does not
Yeah.
appear to be limited to subscribers, and you will have to read through the details if you really are that interested. From what I could see, it doesn't say anything, this being sub-only, so yes, anyone can play. I'm just reading through the terms and conditions to see if I missed anything. I don't think so. A lot of legal guff in there.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so that was the speed run. There's also the Star Wars The Old Republic Story So Far promotion. Play through Chapter 13 for a chance to win a collectible Zakul themed rewards. And this is play through Chapter 13 Profit and Plunder. That's all you have to do. 5 winners will be awarded with the Zakul Knight Armor Set and the Zakul Dropship Mount on May the 10th, 15th, 20th, 25th, and 30th. Now I was wondering, are they going to do 5 winners on each of those days for a total of 25? But no, it's 1 winner on each day. So basically it seems that all you have to do is play through Chapter 13 and they will pick someone randomly.
Cool. But you do have to, again, sign up for it, so it's not going to be everyone who
Indeed.
happens to finish the chapter.
Now this is on all swotor.com/May-the-4th to actually, it has got all the buttons to enter. Though for this one, you can also send an email to swotorsubmissions@swotor.com with the subject line "Story So Far Promotion." And you've got to give them your display name, email address, first name and last name. If you don't want to do it through the website, but you may as well just log into your account and do it through the website.
Yeah.
Far, far simpler.
Yeah.
I don't know why they added that extra thing, but...
I know.
so it is.
I'd be afraid of, like, making a small typo and just screwing it up,
Yeah. But yeah, that is a sweet, sweet reward for that. But wait, there's more. Show and tell your saga. Share your videos and screenshots for a chance to get rewarded. This is a similar thing. Now, the way this works, capture and share your gameplay in video or screenshots, and you've got to post with a hashtag SWOTOR Saga Giveaway, all one word. And you can do it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube. And what they will do is randomly select on those same 5 days, May the 10th, 15th, 20th, 25th, and 30th, and they will give 450 cartel coins to the winner. So all you have to do is post on any of those social media things, a screenshot or a video of your gameplay. And does it actually say what gameplay? It doesn't, but who knows? And
Guess anything within
any
SWTOR
SWTOR thing.
Yeah. And I do not see you have to. It doesn't seem like you have to sign up anywhere. You just, as long as you're posting, you're entered.
Yeah, presumably they would then contact you on social media and ask for your details or whatever. So that's it. But again, only 1 winner in each of those 5 days. So
Cool.
that's nice.
They're
And
giving
that's
away
it.
a lot of cartel coins.
My goodness. So that's it for May the 4th. So let's just quickly summarize. We've got if you're not a subscriber now, you can get Play Chapter 1 for free. That offer is up again. We've got log in between April 27th and May the 4th, between now and then, and get the Astromech Droid the M4I6 Zukulan droid, and also we've got between May 3rd and 10th, and May 26th and 30th, the double XP, double PvP Warzone comms, and double GSF requisition rewards for those periods. We've got the Eternal Championship solo speedrun. We've got the Stories So Far promotion. All you have to do is play Chapter 13. And we've got the Share Your Saga on social media with that hashtag. My God, that's May the 4th. Wow. So, especially
cool.
for that solo speedrun, they're really coming to the party in terms of being awesome prizes. So, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, seriously. Those are really good prizes.
All right.
They're being very creative about getting people to play. I kind of like it. It's cool.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay, so right at this point, I'm wondering whether we should go through what I was going to do with the leaderboards. I think I'll go through it quickly. All right, in community news, firstly, I wanted to mention that I have updated the OotiniCast.com/leaderboards page, so it now shows the current data for Season 7, Ranked PvP Season 7. Note, we still don't know what the rewards are for Season 7, nothing about that posted or what the brackets will be for deciding those rewards, the gold, silver, bronze. But we do have some interesting data. Firstly, it seems a lot of people are playing in Ranked, just comparing it to previous seasons. So already Season 7 is approaching the number of players who participated in Season 6. So far, 16,929 in solo, 2,890 in group. Less than it was at its start, but still not bad at all.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk faction balance. It's pretty much the same way it's been for a while. 1/3 Republic and 2/3 Empire. And that's the same in solo and group. The server populations, basically the winner is the Harbinger on 19% of overall participation, and Red Eclipse on 19% as well. So that's the EU, that's US, and the EU side. Pretty much the Harbinger and the Red Eclipse are where it's happening. With interestingly, the next highest being the Ebon Hawk, 9%. So looks like that our former RP server is actually busier than we thought. And it's a bit different for group, where for group PvP it's mainly on the Red Eclipse, interestingly enough. I guess guys on the Harbinger aren't quite as willing to group up.
Not as groupy.
Yep. Alright, in the class representation for the top 20, in solo it's kind of telling. They're mainly
makes me sad.
Vanguards and Powertechs and Sages and Sorks. In fact, that's all there is, except for Scoundrels and Operatives. There's a couple of those guys.
Everything else is
Two.
at 0. Yeah.
Yes. So
Wow.
mostly Powertechs, Vanguards, and Sages, Sorks. And in group, for the top 20, it's pretty much exactly the same, except no Ops, no Scoundrels and Operatives, and somehow a Sentinel/Marauder snuck in there. But mainly Vanguards, Powertechs, Sages, and Sorks.
Wow.
I think this is saying something about class balance.
Yep.
Maybe.
Sure
A
is.
little bit.
Now, overall representation, in terms of classes, believe it or not, Sages and Sorks are pretty heavily represented. What a shock.
Yeah.
Though Powertechs and Vanguards aren't so much.
Yeah. 10%, that's about where it should be, actually.
Yeah.
Pretty close, anyway.
Guardians and Jugs are fairly well represented as well, 17%. Yeah, Sense and Marauders, 11.5%. Now in group overall participation, though, it seems that people are favouring Sages and Sorks. There's 26%, and Vanguard's Powertechs at 18%. So that's where your comps are taken a little more seriously.
Right.
So people are favouring clearly the winners or the classes which are the flavour of the month. Well and truly, probably because they're the most potent. There's usually a good reason for that. And given there's been no class changes for a while, people really have worked out where the best ones are. And overall class representation, it's pretty much what you would expect. Sages and Sorks by a country mile, and the rest not too bad. Gunslingers and Snipers still the least represented in ranked PvP, sadly. Alright, anyway, you can see all that data for yourself. That may change over time, but it's been a couple of weeks now, 3 or 4 weeks now, so I suspect it'll be probably pretty close to this by the time we reach the end. And the next step, of course, is finding out where those tiers are for the rewards. Now, Deck, you wanted to put in something here?
Yes, I wanted to mention that we are bringing back the Jar Jar Joyride on the Utini Knights side. So this is for the pub side players on Harbinger, and it's not just a guild thing. This is open to everyone. We just ask that you sign up on utiniguilds.engine.com so you can pick your slot and let us know if what you're bringing, if you're bringing a healer or a tank or a DPS. Right now, we did this last Wednesday. We're going to do it again tonight. Tonight's run is Terror from Beyond. We'll probably, for now, pick the op of the day from Group Finder.
Okay.
We'll try for 16 people, but if we get 8, then we'll run with 8. And this is, again, if you don't know the mechanics, if you're new to ops, if you're just trying to, get into the more social aspect of the game, this is a great way to do it. And you're going to be surrounded by people that do know the mechanics and do know the ops, and that we are very willing and able to help you. So we'd love to see everyone come out.
And we'll be friendly too.
I'm sure you will. Thank you, mate. And that's the news.
All right, and so the next up is the Academy, and this week, So Teresa will tell us all about role-playing.
Insert 15-minute saga, and it's actually really good, because, as I said, we have listened to it. And, Jill, you want to kick us off with comments?
Sure, what about this next bit? Did you want to do that right now?
I don't know where did that come in.
Oh, that was me.
Okay. All right, Jill, start with your comments, and then Fee, etc.
Okay. Yeah, that was an excellent discussion of role-playing. She does talk. I'd like to sort of broaden it just a bit in that she talks about role-playing in terms of doing it as a group activity, but this is a role-playing game, and everyone in the game is essentially a role player as well. And you can do sort of a light RP without having to necessarily dip your toe in the group role play. You can create your own characters' backstories. You can and everyone, and SWTOR is really good at this because it's already sort of tailored towards having different options in the conversations and so on. And you can really sort of do a lot of single person role play as you game with and sort of get used to doing that before you actually try role playing with anyone else. Also, I mean, that's sort of what I've been doing on some of my streams as well. Because it's all about figuring out who this character is and what they look like and getting it all set up. So if you're not quite ready yet to role play with other people, and that is the real role playing is when you're actually doing it as a social activity. But you can do an awful lot of the parts of it just within your own single player gaming, and then jump into it. And
Yeah,
Fee,
I think
Go
sorry.
ahead. I was just going to throw it to you, Fee, is all. And Fee, I understand you have a few things along these lines.
Yeah, at first I just think that everybody role plays on some level. I mean, even with, especially with the outfit designer.
Yes.
You choose your outfits. You have different things that you'd wear for different events or whatever you're playing. I know. And even as you're going through your story, your dark side, light side choices, I find myself saying, oh, this character, she's a terrible human being, or whatever, So you kind of get into those little role-playing things. And just designing your character, you're kind of making a role play. But I would like to mention one of our guildies. His name is Christopher Schaefer, and his main tune on the Imperial side is Yugu. And he has very intricate backstories for all of his characters, and last names and sisters and brothers and the whole family tree thing. It's pretty cool. And he is now recording those stories, and he has a YouTube channel. And I put that link up there if you'd like to go take a look at his YouTube station channel. go and do that. He's on every once in a while. He's not on a whole lot, but when he's on, he definitely wants people to join him in his story and come see his decisions that he makes and things like that. So it's fun. I'm not that far into the role-playing bit. I can't imagine making up a story for all of my characters, but it happens, and people role-play like that. And he's one of the ones that's doing it, and he's in our guild. So
streaming is interesting. Has all kinds of intriguing possibilities as far as it goes, streaming your own story and letting people interact that way. Never occurred to me. Yeah, I had a...
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, I was going to say, potentially, in addition to all the in-game stuff, you can even do, like, cosplay, because I've seen streamers who throw on little costumes so that, you know, when you see them, they're actually, you know, playing their character in that way, too. So...
That's it.
Yep. Yeah. And of course, role-playing is a spectrum. So, you know, on the one hand, you have the hardcore raider who, you know, will say stuff like, you know, my character could be, you know, an unshaded cube, and I wouldn't care, as you know, as long as I'm getting 1 DPS more than I am any other way, you know, and. But anyone who's not doing that extreme is doing roleplay to some extent. You know, choosing how your character looks at the beginning of the game and choosing a name, whether it's, you know, a name that just sounds good to you or sounds alien or sounds badass or is funny or whatever, you know, whatever name you're choosing. That's all sort of, you know, heading towards the role-playing side of the game. So,
yeah, I agree with Chill, because after listening to Sorterista's clip about role-playing, you know, I never thought that I was a role player. I really don't actively try to be one, but then I thought, wait a minute, you know, I filled out my family tree for all of my alts. You know, I've got, you know, 2 people are married, they've got kids, they've got, you know, brothers, sisters, so that's sort of the beginning of the backstory of the Dekion, right?
absolutely.
Then I start thinking, well, you know, then there's that outfit designer, and then there's the way that I interact with, you know, being light side or dark side. I've got one of my alts he's a level 65, but he only has 10 light side points, right? He favors the light side because I go back and forth. He's sort of chaotic neutral, you know, from the old Dungeons and Dragons days. Mm-hmm. Then, you know, I think, well, we just did the prom on the Harbinger with Wookiee Mistake and Unholy Alliance, and that was role playing. You know, we're not playing the game. You know, we're not going on a mission. We're not killing a boss. We're all standing around dancing and having a good time and listening to some tracks and showing off our sweet moves. And, you know, thinking about all of that, I think, you know, Sorterisa's dead on with what she said. You know, grab a partner and just kind of jump in and enjoy it.
All right. And that'll bring us to the force feedback, where we read out your tweets and emails. And we'll start with Elise, who writes, listening to the comment about Shadow Realms and the possibility of the same scenario occurring with SWTOR, the situation is not the same. Dallas Dickinson said in a panel at PAX East that Shadow Realms was cancelled because EA could not confidently find any comparables upon which the company could build an earnings estimate on. One can say he had personal reasons to say that, but other panelists agreed with him on how EA does things. Obviously, SWTOR is not in that same position.
Oh, that's a bizarre idea. Could that be true? They literally could not model how much money they would make out of it because there was no game that was similar enough to it. So they had no idea how big an audience it could reach, and so they just didn't do it.
That's weird.
It seems weird, but I guess if you're playing it very conservative as a business, that could be a way to do it. I mean, EA, they didn't get big by making a lot of flops. They're not the sort of company who puts out a lot of little games just to see what will stick. They put out big expensive games, and they make damn well sure that they're going to be moneymakers from day one.
Right, which it means a lot of copycats, which is a bit of a shame. I guess they should have taken the risk on this, but then again, perhaps the cost of taking that risk was so high of developing Shadow Realms, and without any kind of guaranteed return.
Yeah. All right, Sinwolf, I'm guessing his pronunciation could be Sinwolf, I suppose, Yeah, we'll go Sinwolf. That sounds cooler. Sinwolf writes, "Hello, OotiniCast. Love the podcast. I'm very glad I moved with most of the active members left in my old guild to Harbinger to join Knights and Rage. Well, welcome. So Teresta was going over speed leveling on the last podcast. I wanted to add a tip here. To help with credits, gear, and speed leveling and movement, ensure that you grab the Heroics missions. With a companion at about Influence 5 or 10, they're very soloable, even if you aren't with another player. The gear drops are level appropriate, and the credit return keeps your crafting companions running for days."
Did Arwen have a comment?
I'm sure.
All right. Yeah, that's all true. And also, the heroic missions can also get you to the planets a little faster in some cases as well.
Indeed, and they're actually kind of fun. And there's so many of them that by the time you do the full round, it's excellent variety, particularly if you're doing it on both factions.
Yeah, plus not having to spend money on gear. That's one of the best parts about that.
Alrighty, Descartes writes, "So, with the changes to PvE/PvP instances, here's some quirky things I found out about Outlaw's Den." This would, of course, be the old all PvP all the time area on Tatooine.
Mm-hmm.
Descartes writes, 1. PvE instances still have Warzone comm chests. 2. You can't change instances from inside Outlaw's Den. You cannot switch instances while in a PvP objective zone. So that is not changed. That may be an oversight, but that is how it was before. You had to exit Outlaw's Den in order to change instances. And so apparently that has not changed. 3, even in a PvE focus instance, you get the red warning about being flagged.
Even though you are not. So that is an oversight. Yep.
Still instills panic in me.
Yeah, I know. Even when I'm just going to farm boxes, and I've done it many times and hardly ever got attacked, you still get a little flutter in the stomach. Oh, yeah. Here comes the flag.
Get a little nervous.
Yeah, exactly. So, and 4th, Descartes writes, switching from a PvP to a PvE focus puts you where you were standing in the PvP instance, but switching to a PvP instance relocates you to a settlement. I've only tried this a couple of times, all just outside Outlaw's Den, so it may not hold true everywhere. Interesting.
Now, I wonder if the buffs that you get from killing the vendors, if those disappear if you're in PvE and switch to a PvP instance.
I would imagine they would not. Just as a way that buffs work, you don't usually lose them when you switch instances, so...
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah. And let's see, I found a funny picture elsewhere on the internet and tweeted it out. Someone had put above a toilet, and basically the old screenshot from when Luke is going after the first Death Star, and it says "Stay on target."
Computer.
And it's his targeting computer with the number of meters or whatever left before you're supposed to shoot. And,
stay on target. Stay on target.
Yeah, JP put that up for his son, who will be learning to use the toilet properly in the next probably year.
That's
and
funny.
Probably good advice for the male half of the population.
And Brian commented back, turn the targeting computer off, use the Force.
Sure.
Yeah, that'll work. So that was fun. And JP Sinclair found another funny Star Wars picture and tweeted out it's Luke asking him to... it's Vader asking Luke to join him. And then it has a SWTOR little window pop up. It says, "Group invite. Vader has invited you to join a group. Accept, decline."
Oh boy.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Or, yeah. In this case, jump into the abyss. So, and let's see, Dekian has sent in.
Bit spoilery.
Yeah, it kind of.
For anyone who hasn't seen The Force Awakens yet, which is presumably no one at this point.
Right. Kylo Ren and Han Solo on the bridge. How about some fatherly advice? A BioWare employee will never ask you for your password. And then he just stabs him through the gut.
What? Oh,
You're
man.
And Ignacio has a question for us, and specifically directed at you, Tio. Do you think they'll ever make it so that you can mass give to your companions?
I can't think of any reason why they wouldn't, because it doesn't. All it would save you is time, and there's no other consequence in the game. So if they can actually work out the tech to actually do it, and that may be a problem, because you can't click on a stack of anything and just make it happen all at once. So if they add that as a quality of life feature, I reckon it's possible. It's just a matter of doing it.
They'd also have to work out.
Awesome.
They have to work out the math too, because the amount of rep you get back goes down as you click more of them. So if you're clicking a whole stack, they'd have to figure out where the breakpoint is, do the other math, add them up,
Actually,
do the other math.
The way they would do it is they would take however many and then apply each one in a loop, just behind the scenes.
Just really quickly behind the scenes. Right, and so
be actually quite
I guess
easy,
that would be. I guess that could be pretty quick then.
You'd also need a UI to do it. So at the moment, you right-click on it. You need some other way of doing it.
Well, maybe like when you're buying something, a shift click sort of thing. Bring up a window,
or just drop the whole stack on your companion. Maybe. Don't know.
Yeah. All right. And was there anything else to you?
Not that I saw.
All right, then. That's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Harbinger server, or in our Guild on the Empire side, do a /c join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @OotiniCast. You can find contact details for all of us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe to us using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record this show live every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Go to OotiniCast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby. And thank you to the chat room, and thank you to Fee and Dickion.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. It was very fun, as usual.
And we'll see you next week.
All right, guys, keep recording as per usual. Thank you, everyone.
Before you turn it off, Tio, I have a question about the old Utini Rage contest. Is that still running?
Ah, yes. Oh God, I guess I can summarize it, or we can just mention it again next week.
Okay.
So,
and do you want to summarize it, or do you want me to?
Go ahead, and I'll cut it back somewhere.
Okay. And as a reminder, we are still running the Utini Rage contest. Send in a clip with your own special Utini Rage. There's no end date on the contest yet that I'm aware of, but we will be choosing some winners here in the relatively near future. Send those to OotiniCast@gmail.com in one of the usual sound formats, and we really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, thank you. We'll be back next week with our May the 4th edition of OotiniCast, because we are actually recording on May the 4th next week, Wednesday.
Woohoo!
So, yeah, I have no idea if we're going to do anything special. Knowing us,
Seems
probably not. Yeah. So anyway, thank you again for watching, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.